All right. Well, here's the expected part 2 that everyone's been waiting for. And here's everything lined up. So let's go ahead and power this on. Okay, let me take a look here myself. Okay, so at least the way I have it, the way that I'm gonna have it fully powered, because it's on a temp right now over the top. And now we should have full image clarity. So there you go. Boom. All right, so I'm going to try to stabilize myself here so you can at least get a decent viewing of it. But the way that it's going to be, at least for now, is that I have it running on a full night vision mode. And I'm just checking on it myself. And then we're going to turn off this background light and see how it presents itself over to you. Okay. And no, you're not catching much right now, just due to the sheer video on video kind of quality that's going on here. But let's go ahead and go through the controls for the Holosun, excuse me. So we're going to start with the buttons that are on top of the unit. So I'm actually on infrared mode right now. So you can actually pick that up. I can see it over here on the camera. But to the naked eye, that's not visible. And actually, since I'm showing that, the right side here is for the light and laser. You might not be able to make out the laser, but and my visible eye is there. Okay. And this is the same IR illuminator, fully ballooned out, but I'll change that back here to keep it narrow on the vision. So that's the way I originally had it. And then I'll go through the buttons here that are further back on my setup. So this should be the override. Here we go. So here you got your visible laser. And then back to the IR illuminator again, not visible to the naked eye, but I'm glad that the camera is picking it up. And then your light override here. And the long press did keep it on. And there you can see the laser. Okay, and I'm just moving it around just so you get a look against different backdrops here and how it may flush out on the light surfaces, but it seems to do well in cardboard. If that's your thing, shooting cardboard is your thing, except no substitute here. So in that case, everything is working fine. Cannot complain about the use of the buttons. The laser is working as expected, and my dot is on. Now let's see actually if we could do the override here and see if you could see my dot as well. Might be too much for the camera, but yeah, it looks like it's definitely blown out on the camera end. So my apologies on that, but basically what I'm trying to show is that my gold dot here is showing in real time. And if I turn off the override, then even when I'm on infrared, as you can see here, I'm actually in real time seeing two dots, and one is basically overlapping with the other. It's almost like a halfway Venn diagram. But if I was to say an MOA, my dot itself is 2 MOA, but what it shows for the laser in comparison is closer to 6 MOA. So it might be 5, but I'm going to just call it 6. So that being said, I don't feel a need to co-witness. Once I get it on the range, I'll probably see that actively that the IR is probably set up just for like visible up close ranges where you could not necessarily, well, you can see it with the naked eye should you go and let's see if I get the proper override, not that one, but this one here. So let's say if I was going to go to that standpoint of using the visible laser, which you got here, which is definitely overblown in the from the camera point of view, but on the real time, on the real, like you seeing it in real time, this laser is good enough that if you're off your camera or the camera's down, you could just visually see, and this will be what I consider to be more up close and personal accurate within, like, let's say 15 yards. Probably stretch it out to 20. This is a pretty good laser, if I say so myself, going across the house. But, that's not really a true, demonstration of what you might get on the outside or if you have very large property. But I wouldn't complain against it at all. And it looks pretty sick in real life. Just that behind the camera, this is not really like your best use of it. The IR definitely takes the cake on that. Excuse me. And yeah, that's the proper button there. So this is actually what you want to use if you need to run around. But I would say under performance, once you actually turn on the light and the refresh catches up, this is probably the most ideal that you want to get for any type of viewing pleasure. Not so much for running around on a, let's say, self-defense application. I would say the IR is actually where you want to be for that, as it does provide enough feedback, even on limited light. So even then, I'm just keeping a contrast here versus the computer light, which is over to the right, versus the complete darkness that's over to the left. And even over here, you're still getting good detection from the night vision camera. But that being said, even the visible laser comes across as overblown, but if you're in complete darkness, this will give you enough light to definitely uh, illuminate for the rest of the night vision camera. So overall, this is kind of like the setup I'm playing with. Not really going to drag this out too much longer. Appreciate your time on that. But if I show you just at least on the rail section what I have going on here one more time. So my cable management went to wrap around at the bottom instead of using clips. And one of the big things I like about this here is that this section for the front has the rotating covers, which I think is like something that should be standard, like across the board. Like, I think that is pretty awesome. At least a good like detail there that I kind of wish more of the red dots that came with covers did that, but we could digress on that. And then you have your actual physical buttons here. I had to squeeze that in. I actually needed an extra set of hands because it came apart in two pieces to put that together. So that was the thing. Hopefully you don't have to go through that strain like I did, because still I was pretty low on space between my gold dot and the actual camera itself, then the DNT. But that being said, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I recommend it. Your 1,500 spent by me is, at least right now, good to go. So I don't foresee any warranty issues, but this is busy, and I'll say that as much for something that you're only gonna look at through a camera and not through, let's say, nods. But that being said, I can't argue with the results, and I do recommend it. So I don't want to say buyer beware, because that's like, you are spending a lot of money, but for me, definitely cheaper than going through nods. And I'm trying to think of what else I could say about it, but I suppose I'm gonna have to leave it up to the questions here. So should you have any concerns, questions, doubts, rhetorical, smart answers, criticism, leave it down. I'll probably be in the mood to listen to you as long as you're polite. But if you're rude, we'll handle that too. But that being said, thank you for your time. Hopefully this was informative. And I'll probably leave off saying that with the instructions that did come with it, they were very redundant, especially on the part for the DNT, that you'll read it and you could literally go through your 4 controls. And I'm saying 4 generously, but it's basically actually 3 controls that are on the top there, that basically you'll figure out everything that you need to do from there. So overall, I'm giving top marks on it. I got no issues with it. Hasn't caused me any problems yet. No obvious type of issues or quality that has gone wrong yet between 2 Holosun devices and the DNT so far. But I thank you for your time, and I hope this was slightly informative to you, that if you're interested in this kind of setup, go for it. But if you're not, or at least 1 unit each at a time, I'll say that each of them are price competitive. I had no issues paying retail on each separate device, no matter which one you're interested in. So I'm gonna cut myself off from here because I don't really have any other thoughts behind it, but my overall setup will get some other upgrades just on the furniture. But besides that, I'm gonna wrap this video up right here, right now. So again, thank you for your time. The emitter that I was playing with most is gonna be the DH function, or the DH level, for the dual high between the infrared and the laser. So I think that's pretty much what's going to cover. Not really my so-called expertise, but at least the fun I'm having with it. So feel free to LARP, do as you do, and I'll catch you in the comments. See ya.